Hi, I'm Teresa, personal finance enthusiast for beingbrokeisn'tcute.com, and I want to welcome you back to our YouTube channel. This week, I want to address something that actually happened today. I had a totally different topic for today, and this happened at work, so I wanted to address it because I know a lot of people could fall victim to this because people are working this scam. So to give you a little background, I was at work and I work near the exit. So one of my coworkers stepped outside to make a personal phone call, no big deal. So I'm doing my little work, going on about my little business, and I keep hearing her voice. Now, mind you, she's outside, double glass doors, and I normally don't hear a whole lot. But as the conversation is going with her and whoever's on the phone, I keep noticing that she's getting louder and louder and louder to the point where I can actually hear her side of the conversation. And it turns out she's talking to somebody. Somebody has called her. They know her name and they know her cell phone number. And they're saying they're from the IRS and that she owes this money. And she's like, no, I don't. And she's going back and forth with these people. And of course, she's getting frustrated. And as she gets more frustrated, her voice is getting louder. So I'm hearing bits and pieces of the conversation. And she's asking some good questions like, all you have is my name. How do you know it's me? Can you give me more information? Who are you? Can I speak to your supervisor? But I can tell in her voice she's getting frustrated. So after I've heard enough of it, I kind of get up from my desk and I walk over to the door, open it, and I said, get off that phone. I said, these people are scammers. This is not the IRS. And she kind of looks at me, possibly because she didn't realize she was getting that loud. And also a little bit relieved. I'm like, get off the phone. That is not the IRS. And I told her some things that the IRS doesn't do. And the number one thing is the IRS doesn't do this. I asked her, I said, are they expecting you to make payment right now? She's like, yeah, they're saying that I owe them $7,000 and that I need to make a payment and I need to make arrangements to make payments now. I said, no, the IRS doesn't do that. I said, that's not how the IRS works. I said, have you received a note or a letter in the mail, some kind of bill or something from the IRS saying that you owe taxes, you owe back taxes or you owe them money? And she's like, no. I said, that's the first thing the IRS is going to do. They're going to send you a letter and they're going to let you know how much that you owe, that they have done some calculation, whatever the situation is, and you owe X number of dollars. I said, they're not going to call you on the phone and harass you and do any of the kind of things that this person on this phone call just did. And she looked really relieved, and I said, the first thing you need to do is, I said, go to IRS.gov, Google the number, and call the IRS directly. Do not call the number back that they gave you, but call the IRS back directly so that you know you are calling the IRS and speak to a representative then. So she seemed really relieved. She went back to her desk. She did what I said. And when she came back at the end of the day, she says, thank you, because one, she was getting really frustrated about it, and she said the IRS confirmed that that was a scam. They confirmed that there was nothing going on with her taxes, that she didn't owe any money. In fact, she had gotten a refund that year, and they said, if you got a refund, you don't owe us anything. We've already gone through that. She talked to a representative. Everything was clear. She gave them the information about the scammers, and then they asked her to also make a couple other calls to report it to the local police and to the FTC. So I said all that to say I'm going to give you five things that scammers do so often, but the IRS will not do. The first thing is what they did to her today. They will not call you and demand immediate payment. That's not how the IRS works. If the IRS believes that you owe them money, they will send you a letter or some sort of bill saying so. And they're going to send it to the address on your tax return and that kind of stuff. That's how the process begins. Dear Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so, blah, blah, blah. It's probably a standard form letter with, the dollars not inputted in. Very standard. 2, even if you get that letter and they demand that you somehow pay taxes, they will not demand that you pay it without giving you the opportunity to question the amount, question that you owe, or appeal the amount that you owe. They're going to give you the opportunity to dispute it and prove otherwise. They say you owe it. If you can prove that you don't, they're going to give you that opportunity. Number 3, they're not going to require you to use a certain type of payment method to pay your taxes, such as a prepaid debit card. I'm going to tell you, the IRS, our federal government, is probably one of the few places that still accepts check payment. You can write them a check. You might be able to go into a local IRS office and make payment. Not really sure on that one. But you can set up some kind of terms and you can pay them monthly. They're not going to demand that you pay the entire amount in a phone call. Number 4, they are not going to ask for a credit or a debit card over the phone. That's not how they do. They do not do that over the phone. They will not. That's not what they do. They will call you, but not before getting that letter or that invoice first. They're always going to contact you first in writing. And finally, number 5, the IRS is not going to threaten to bring in the local police or any other law enforcement to have you arrested for not paying. That is not how the IRS works. My little exercise thing just went off. It's telling me, hey, you need to get your steps in. I've been sitting here for a minute. But anyway, they're not going to threaten to bring in the local police or law enforcement or anything like that. The main reason is they don't have to. If they send you the letter, usually send about 2, and for whatever reason you don't prove that you don't, or it turns out that you tried to prove that you don't and it turned out that you do, if you somehow owe them money and then you are unwilling to make payment arrangements, you just say, screw you, IRS, blah, blah, blah. They don't have to send anybody for you. If you're employed or have any kind of income whatsoever, they can pretty much garnish it and move on. They don't have to send anybody. They don't have to sue you or anything like that. In most cases, they can garnish your wages, and that just requires yet another letter to your employer with your information, telling your employer how much to take out of your check, and you'll just get a check short that amount until you pay it off. That's what they're going to do. So it really concerned me. I was just really happy that I could help her. So let me go back through it. They don't call you and demand payment, immediate payment, like you don't have any time to think about this. 2, they allow you the opportunity to question or appeal the amount that they say you owe. 3, they will not require you to make certain type of payments, like over a prepaid debit card or anything like that. 4, they won't ask you for your credit or debit card information over the phone. And 5, they're not bringing in the popo or any other law enforcement. If they need to collect their money, the IRS, all they really need is a piece of paper, and that's pretty much it. So be on alert, folks. And if they do happen to call and you have any kind of question about whether or not this is real or not, first of all, get as much information about these people, who's calling, why they're calling, company or whatever names, numbers, some kind of account number, whatever you can get out of them. And then say, hey, I'll call you back. You're not calling them back. Hang the phone up. Then you're going to go and call the IRS directly. Don't use whatever numbers they give you. That's all bogus. call the IRS directly and talk to an agent there. They're going to tell you what the real deal is. And once that's cleared, and I'm sure they'll give you this information, you're going to report the incident to TIGTA, which is a report, and it's TIGTA.gov. That's the agency that takes care of this kind of stuff. You report the incident to them because they're the ones responsible for hunting it down. And you should also report it to the Federal Trade Commission, which is FTC.gov, and file a complaint there as well. And if they've threatened you in some kind of way, like with criminal charges or involving the police, you can also file a report on them yourself. You can file a report on them to the police. So do your due diligence. Don't get frustrated and don't get scared because, oh, the IRS is calling. They don't call. If they haven't sent you a letter, this is not the IRS. If they have not tried to contact you in writing in some way, this is not the IRS. So stay calm, get as much information from them as you can, and then hang up and call the IRS directly so you'll know who you're speaking with. Okay? All right, then. Well, that ends this episode. I want to thank y'all so much for sticking in there and watching the video. Of course, I want you to remember to like, share, and subscribe. And also hit the little bell, the notification button, so that when new videos come out, you'll be notified, so you'll be up to date or fresh when they're fresh on the YouTube. Okay. Also, remember to check me out on my other social media platforms. I have Facebook, I have Twitter, I'm working on Instagram, trying to figure out a way to work this into Instagram, and eventually get a LinkedIn, because for some reason my kids think I need a LinkedIn. I don't know. That's just something else me I've tried to keep up with. Also, check me out on my website at beingbrokeisn'tcute.com. And I want you all to remember, being broke is not cute. It never has been. It never will be. Be blessed.